1 second.
So once again, I'm back. Got my guest TJ Lofton, referred to by the great Valerie Denise Jones. What state are you out there, brother?
I'm out of California, but I'm currently in Atlanta.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's kind of hot down here in Virginia, man.
Oh, that's where you at? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hot. It's kind of hot down here. What about out there?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, about 90,
This weather
98
just
degrees.
changing, be storming, and y'all south weather ain't no joke, man. 1 minute it's storming, and it's still hot.
Well, yeah, you're an interesting guy. You talk about gentrification and other things. So,
Yeah.
you're in Atlanta, so I just was in Atlanta like May 8th or something. So I did realize there was a lot of gentrification going on in Atlanta. It's not the Black Mecca as they call it anymore. What do you say?
Oh, it's the black mecca, meaning it. People here are more progressive than they are in a lot of places around the country. You know what I mean? You got a lot
Okay.
of black stuff out here, black restaurants, black businesses. So that's the norm. I see more black businesses out here than I see in LA. You know,
Yeah.
so there's more black people out here. That's what I do notice, and that's the South. Period. People
Well,
having
I
their
see.
money, living good. You know, but all that's going to change. You got a lot of black people going to be successful moving out here. You know what I mean?
I saw a lot of homelessness there too.
Nationally, clear
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah. So, but as you've been talking about gentrification on your show. Go ahead and talk a little bit about it.
Well, I'll tell you about myself.
Go ahead.
I traveled around the country. I did 22 states so far. And anyway, my background is I'm a real estate person, land developer. I learned a lot about construction at a very young age. Some of the guys in my neighborhood have got tired of the gang violence. So they turned around and, a mother would send their child off to the grocery store to go get some swabs and some milk or something, and all of a sudden he'd be murdered because he crossed in the wrong neighborhood or something. So some guys in my neighborhood had bought some land, like 10 pieces of land. They put up a bunch of strip malls, barber shops, mini markets, little stuff like that, burger stands, and I was able to watch all of that from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? So all the way from finding the land to who gonna build it, what kind of materials, uh, what businesses we gonna put in there, what should we franchise, what can we buy, and what do we got to buy a franchise out of. So I turned around and I always liked. I used to read Architectural Digest magazine. You know what I'm saying? At
Gotcha.
11, 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? When I was a young guy, I knew the difference between $1 million home and a regular house. You know what I'm saying? So,
Gotcha.
so anyway, I ended up helping to pioneer the lowrider world, and helped a lot of my homeboys start businesses in the car world because I also had people building cars around me. So I had some amazing mentors or jegnas, and they taught me a lot. So I ended up growing up to start a business, a lowrider shop, and helped a lot of my homeboys start lowrider shops, paint shops, transmission shops, muffler shops, everything automotive, so we can build those cars, tow truck companies. And I had to help them buy real estate too. Teach them how to buy real estate, what to buy, what not to buy. Then we start building and stuff like that. So I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Sabi after I helped stop the gentrification. I was the first person to call out gentrification in LA, and then I
Okay.
started fighting it, and they kind of threw them a curve. So I ended up they put me on Al Jazeera's news, took it down 24 hours later. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want nobody to know that somebody like me existed. And Dr. Sabi found out about me. I don't know if you remember, familiar with Sabi,
Yeah.
but yeah, he ended up,
Herbal doctor.
yes, I became his financial advisor after, actually, he came into Leimert Park after he heard about me. He told me, brother, they don't like you, they don't like me. We need to be friends. So I got some stuff you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like say he saved my life and told me I need you to start traveling the country because this stuff is going on all over the country. So I did just that, and I did 22 states, man. By the time I got to 15, I decided to write a book because a lot of my homeboys, as I was traveling, they were like, "What the heck you doing in Philadelphia? What are you doing in Virginia? What's going on in D.C.? Why are you all up in Atlanta all the time?" You know. And I start telling them, they're like, "Man, you lying. Send me a picture of that. That don't sound right. I ain't never seen a brand new city being built. You know what I'm saying?" That's what was going on out here in Atlanta. So next thing you know, man, I start traveling the country and going to speak in schools, speaking everywhere, teaching them how to stop this, teaching people how to monetize. Man, most people don't realize it's a lot of money being made. You know, they complaining about gentrification. Yeah, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's trillions of dollars being made right now. So let's get into position so we can receive some of that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got a question about that.
Go ahead, brother.
Now, you saw all that, right? And it's mighty funny. I was with a friend the other day. And matter of fact, he lives in Texas, so he was telling me that he wasn't going to buy a house until next year when the market probably crashes because right now it's 30. Everybody's asking 30 to 40,000 because the asking price, and corporations are buying up properties. So that's another thing that's going on right now. So you can being that the interest rates were down, corporations are just buying up houses altogether. So when you do that, you also have a housing bubble. If you remember what happened in 2008, everybody can go back to 2008.
See,
A con job in itself.
all of that's you can't see. Everybody's not a. The problem with that is people are not seasoned investors. They don't understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They just immediately. We already recording, right, brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Most people going off of the 10 years up, 10 years down, they listening to the media. You know what I'm saying? And the media has historically ain't never been there to tell us the truth. They liars. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
people who are waiting are going to be locked out to real estate forever, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So what am I saying by that? You got people who are sitting around waiting on the market to crash, but the reality is the market ain't gonna crash. Real estate is being restructured. It ain't never gonna be the same again. You ain't gonna be going in Atlanta finding no $1,500 houses, $30,000 houses, big giant 5,000 square foot houses for 120,000. Them days is over. You got too many multi-trillion-dollar companies moving into Atlanta, moving into South Carolina, moving into the South. Baby boomers are retiring. They all coming out. They all want to buy a brand new home somewhere else more affordable. Well, when you got too many people doing the same thing, it's not going to be affordable anymore.
It's a glut. It's a glut.
So you got people who said in 2019 they're gonna wait till the market crash before they buy a house, and here it is 2021, and the real estate market is still at historical highs. So the people who said they're gonna wait in 2019 that could have bought a 5-bedroom house, 4,000 square foot. Now all of a sudden they looking for condos, 2-bedroom condos because they've been outpriced. And then real estate has changed over the last decade. 70% of the real estate that has sold to the hedge funds. They paying cash. So you can't come in there with no, I got 200,000 down, you know what I'm saying? So I want something for 500. They're like, man, you got to pay cash for it or you ain't getting it. And then you got to be prepared. If you say, hey, I got 500,000 in cash, you can't come in there and bid on the $500,000 house. You got to bid on something for 3 something and then end up at 500. You know what I'm saying? Because the hedge funds is buying, put it like this, the hedge funds is buying everything up because the government changed the model of real estate. We are moving away from where African-American people own affordable housing. They own houses. They trying to make it to where we don't own nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they buying up all the houses all around the country. You know, Facebook, Tesla, Google, Snapchat, all of these trillion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, they moving all over the country, buying up all the real estate. So why would they think the market is going to crash? When the market crashed historically in 2007, You didn't have all these billion-dollar corporations in our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It wasn't nothing like that. So the reason why the real estate was so cheap in the first place, because you ride through the African American communities and you're gonna see that they got McDonald's, Burger King, Jack in the Box. That's the jobs. Everywhere you go, that's all the jobs you're gonna see. That's where everybody work at.
Macy's, Starbucks.
At Starbucks, yeah. At Target, the people who people who really think they doing good work at Costco. You know what I'm saying? They working at Target or something, and they may be full time making $6, $7, $8 an hour, $9. So the houses in those areas are going to be compatible to that price range. That's why you come into Atlanta and you saw houses for $30,000, $15,000. You know what I'm saying? $1,500.
Yep.
Now that's why the market would crash, because but historically back in those days they would turn around and just push the prices up and manipulate the market, and then Atlanta houses will go from 100,000 from 30,000 to 120,000. Then the market crashes and it dropped back down. It still ain't no jobs there. How you gonna have a $100-some-thousand house in a city that the only jobs is McDonald's and Target? That ain't gonna work. That's why the market crashes again. But now the market is up. You got to ask yourself, why is the market up? Well, because SpaceX just moved in. They pay their employees $500,000. Google is here. They got a whole lot of $1-million employees. Microsoft is buying up Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Billionaires is moving into town, building dozens of hotels in every major city. You know what I'm saying? They coming in, buying up all the houses. You got foreign governments sending their money over to America. And people who are the builders who are building houses, they are saying we finna build 450 houses. And the foreign governments and the hedge funds come in and say, I'll buy all 450 of those houses from you. Let me cut you a check for $500 million or something crazy. And boom, let me know when they're ready. And I'm going to rent all of them out. You feel me? Because they know if you got a guaranteed way to make money, if I just like me, if I knew SpaceX, which pays its employee, they got rocket scientists work there. These cats in there making $300,000 to $1 million a year, each employee, right? If I knew that and I owned an apartment building across the street from them, and they came over there like, TJ, you paid $50,000 for this building, we're gonna give you $1 million. I'd be like, are you crazy? Excuse my language. Ain't nowhere in the world I'm gonna sell it for no $1 million, because I know right now I may be getting $400 a month, but now that I know y'all coming, I'm gonna turn around and start remodeling all my units and upgrade them, and then I'm gonna raise the rent to $6,000 a month so I can rent them to y'all. And every year I'm going up. You feel me? So that's how this works. So it's never gonna crash again. Not with those corporations here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to understand. Most people that are talking to us about real estate are deceiving us to trick us, to make us wait. Oh, you should work on your credit. You know what I'm saying? Just take your time and clean up your credit so you can get a better interest rate while it's low. You've been out the market for 2 years trying to clean up your credit. Now all of a sudden you go back to buy a house and they tell you you can't afford to buy nothing because in the last 2 years the market has went up 180,000. You know what I'm saying? They being bamboozled, dude, left and right. We got people who get paid to tell us lies. Like
Well,
they always.
that's true. That's what the media do every day, right?
Yeah, that's why they call it tell a lie vision. They
That's
gonna
right.
tell you some lies to deceive you, to keep
MK
you
Ultra,
down at the bottom where you at.
Ultra Operation Mockingbird. I can't say it no better than that. It's a whole
Yeah,
CIA program behind it. So
absolutely. So that's what's interesting about it. And it's like every time, like right now, real estate is at a historical high. Real estate prices have never before in U.S. history been as high as they are right now. Rent has never before in U.S. history been as high as it is right now. Homelessness never before in U.S. history has been as high as it is right now. But they ain't talking. They ain't really mentioning all that. But since we looking at, they know that we gonna look at that and they gonna like, dang man, they don't want us investing in real estate. So they say, well, let's throw some distractions out there because we don't want them buying a house and all of a sudden that sucker, like I got a house that's boarded up, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't had time to get to it, but I looked at it and I got $60,000 equity in it. You know what I'm saying? Since when I bought it, you know, damn near $100,000 is probably, you know, in 1 year, and that's normal. You know what I'm saying? So next year I'll probably be worth, I'll probably have 120,000 equity in it. So that's how fast the real estate is going up. Because why is it going up? Because again, all these corporations are moving into these areas. You know what I'm saying? And again, people are trying to accommodate the high paid employees. That's why McDonald's is gonna move away, Burger King's gonna move away, and you're gonna start having Starbucks moving in, you're gonna start having Whole Foods moving in, you know, all them fast food restaurants gonna disappear, and then you're gonna have vegan restaurants moving in, and you'll have little cafes moving in. You ever go into expensive neighborhoods, you don't see Burger Kings and all that stuff.
Of
You don't
course
see
not.
Taco Bell and all that. So that's how you're gonna start paying attention, and that's the problem. People looking at, they gentrifying the heck out of Atlanta, they gentrifying the heck out of South Carolina, out of DC, out of Virginia, and you got people. You telling me that they didn't read when I say gentrifying, they are tearing down the projects and getting rid of all the African American people, pushing them out an hour and a half out of the area and stuff like that into different states, into different areas, and they're building brand new everything. You really think the brand new stuff is gonna drop back down to the prices that the old stuff was?
Question: have you ever been to Virginia before?
Yes. I was out
All
there in
right.
2018.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say they like if you came to Richmond, Virginia, they had a place called the James River Sims Avenue that went away. We had like 6 housing projects. We got six. We got Hillside Court, Creighton Court, Fairfield Court, Mosby Court, Wickham Court, and Jackson Ward. In the next 2 years, and actually probably earlier than that, a lot of these areas are starting to demolition. Creighton Court actually is probably first on the list. They had a school across the street, and they're making what they call like new apartments, like like new developments. But across the street, they still got the projects over there. But what they did was they say, okay, once your lease is up, we don't fill out the vacated apartments. So they probably got it down to probably about 350 now out of 500 units. So now they're planning, talking about, they call it, the process called, we want to renew this area, urban, the deal.
Urban renewal, right?
But urban renewal really means black removal. That's what that means. Okay.
Right.
So,
right.
Okay, so they got, so over there they had a trailer park over on Sims Avenue. What they did now, tore down trailer park and made these like $300,000 townhouses.
Mixed use, tall buildings.
Yeah,
businesses on
got
the
a
bottom,
balcony on the back,
condos
balcony on the back, look like 3-story, balcony on the back and everything. I rode back there.
Right.
So then they got all these apartments right there by the river. They got apartments downtown. They got here, there, and we got, what is it? VCU. VCU is Virginia Commonwealth University, which they went to the Final Four about 10 years. Ever since Virginia, VCU went to the Final Four. I mean, they've been buying property all across downtown areas and even going out into further areas like in other parts of town. You got the college there that's buying up all the property. And you got other things. Daggone. A lot of developers came. As a matter of fact, a lot of these developers didn't even come from here. They were coming from outside areas and just staking home and doing it.
They even coming from out of the country.
That's right.
The biggest real estate is the biggest game on the planet right now, outside of tech. I think tech is number one, real estate is number two. The automotive is number three. So fast forward the story. What do I mean by that? Oh, we gotta throw medical up in there. Get the people making the medicines, the COVID shots is really getting paid. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, fast forward the story. Real estate has changed. You got construction companies flying in from all around the world, coming out here fighting over the land, gentrify. That's why Trump, they created this thing called opportunity zones. You remember that?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you look up opportunity zones, 99% of them in black neighborhoods. So they're saying if you're gonna build in an opportunity zone, we got money for you. The government put up money for you to come in there and gentrify these black neighborhoods. So come on in there, push out the blacks, tear down these buildings. We'll loan you $100 million to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So I go to Philadelphia, I go to DC, they tearing down whole projects. You know what I'm saying? Thousands of housing. And same thing in Atlanta. They tore down, I'm sorry, in LA, they tore down the Jordan Down projects. The government owned all the projects around the country. So they done sold the projects in LA to Google. You hear what I'm saying? Google buying projects because the projects, I think the Jordan Downs is sitting on 47 acres or something like that. Same thing in DC. I'm driving through the middle of DC on the freeway and I see like 40 brand new high-rise buildings just popped up in the middle of the city. And I'm like, how they do that? Would they tear down some buildings? They said, no, that was the projects. I'm just driving by looking at this all shining, this brand new glass buildings for like 40 or 50 of them. And I'm like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's like a brand new downtown. So I get off the freeway, I go to my event where I was speaking at the convention center or something like that. And then I come out of it, I'm pulling up and I'm like, man, it's a brand new convention center in the middle of the black community. And they say, yeah, all of this was the projects and all of this was just a bad neighborhood. So they came here and gentrified it and tore it down. So I look across the street, I still see some of the old houses. The homies is hanging out on the corner and probably selling dope or whatever, or they just hanging out. But then I walk across the street, this Louis Vuitton, this Burberry, this Tesla in the middle of the hood. So they gentrifying, they pushing out. So I thought Google was crazy when I found out they bought the Jordan Down projects. I'm like, what the heck they supposed to do? They're going to put $3 billion into the Jordan Down projects. I'm like, what they supposed to do with that? So it wasn't until I went to DC and saw what they was doing that I understood that they about to do something crazier than I ever saw in my life. That's why I was telling my homeboy, I said, man, I'm out here in the middle of the hood holding my wallet, watching my back, and Louis Vuitton is across the street, dog. They're like, oh, you lying. You know what I'm saying? You got to be making that up. I said, man, this used to be the project, so I see the future of the Jordan Downs and the Nickerson Gardens and all the projects in LA, Compton, Watts, you know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So you sitting around waiting, you say your partner's sitting around waiting. I was talking to some people today, same conversation. One person want to buy right now, and the other person want let's wait. And I'm like, man, this is like one of the number one things that's going to force a lot of our people out of real estate. They're going to lose because they sitting around waiting, listening to their experts, they thought, their favorite celebrities, listening to the news, listening to their favorite rapper, telling them to wait. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to it, they're going to be sick and they're going to end up trying to go rent something out farther, or they're going to end up moving out of state. That's what this is all about. They want them to move out of state.
Well, it is a mass. Well, come think about it now, as you said, that it is a mass migration going on across the states.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a mass migration of people got money.
That's right. Elon Musk is going to Texas and all that stuff, moving away from California and stuff like that.
Yeah, California is the most expensive real estate in America. The most expensive city in America is San Jose, California. You go out there, man, they got houses. It's like $100 million houses normal out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's normal. You talking about 50 million, 75 million, because that's where all those tech cats live at. You know, now they didn't extend it out to, they got Silicon Valley decided we're going to move and create Silicon Beach in LA. Because now they want to have some beachfront property in LA where it's got good weather at. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they said they moved. That's why. So now the houses that was in LA and in Compton and Watts and Inglewood and all of that stuff, where all the rappers be talking about, them houses used to be worth 100,000, 120,000. Now them houses 800,000, 1.2 million. You own an apartment building, it's worth 2 million. So mom and pops owned all them apartment buildings back in the hood and the projects back, not the project, but back in the hood back in the days. Now mom and pops who did buy and invest in the real estate, oh, they cashing out majorly. They major league cashing out. They like, man, I sold everything for $3 million. we about to pack our bags and move to Atlanta and get us a brand new house. So people keep asking who got money and we need to get a loan. I'm like, man, y'all need to be trying to catch some of these California, these New York people who cashing out, selling them brownstones in New York and moving to Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? Dude, I go look at all I deal with is construction people. All my people was real estate people. You know what I'm saying? I got people we doing, construction stuff. So my people crying, man. They crying like, TJ, we need help. We ain't got enough people to do the work, man. They sitting around, people picking jobs. They like, man, Miss Betty called with her little 2,000 square foot house over there in Atlanta the other day. She want us to come in there and add on the bedroom and it's about $100,000, but we had to turn her down because Shaquille O'Neal just moved out here and he building a 50,000 square foot house where he finna drop 32 million. So I'd rather make that real money. You feel me? So they relocated in Hollywood. Put it like this, the tech companies is pushing the Hollywood people out. Because back in the days, the Hollywood people made a lot of money, but now that ain't no real money no more because Hollywood losing. Hollywood is losing because of Netflix is out, Walmart making movies, Target making their own movies, you know what I'm saying? They making their own DVDs. You go in all them stores, they got a whole lot of DVDs and movies. Everybody got streaming going on. You know what I'm saying? Amazon got their own primes streaming. So Hollywood ain't making the money they used to. So now you got the tech guys coming in, little 22-year-old billionaires that just sold their app. You know what I'm saying? Candy Crush, that game back in the days or whatever. They sold that for $5.9 billion. So now you got some young cats. All these young cats are creating all these apps for our telephones. You know what I'm saying? And they turn around showing up in LA like, hey, all these celebrities and these rich actors or something, their houses worth 20 million, 30 million. They're like, man, look, we know it's only worth 20 million. We're going to give you 35 and we need you to just get up out of here because we're going to tear that down. That's too small. This house is only 30,000 square feet. So they done bought this house for 10 million and then they bought the one next door for 30 million. Then they bulldozed both of them. You know what I'm saying? And built a 100,000 square foot mansion. Talking about we're gonna sell it to the next tech billionaire. Did you hear about Jay-Z and Beyonce was in LA trying to find a house up in Beverly Hills area, and they had like $50 million, and they couldn't find a house. That wasn't enough money to buy a nice house in Beverly Hills. So all of a sudden, they was in competition with the hedge funds. They was in competition with the tech companies. You feel me? So now all of a sudden, they ended up buying a house for like $88 million. That the dude who really wanted 125 million, but he sold it to them for 88, I think $90 million. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They bought the house because that was the normal back then. That was the normal. So those tech companies, those tech gurus, they pushing all the Hollywood people out. The Hollywood people moving to Georgia. They taking all the Hollywood money with them. And the Hollywood people is coming out here, the filmmakers, the filming crew, the riggers, the everything that got to do with making a movie, they all piling into Georgia. So now Georgia's out here building bigger houses. Georgia's building brand new communities. Georgia's building brand new cities. You know what I'm saying? I got a little situation going in a city called Dunwoody out here. Everything brand new, brother. Brand new buildings, brand new high rises, brand new shopping centers, brand new malls. Man, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life, man. It just blow my mind. The streets is brand new. Everything's brand new. Restaurants brand new. Oh, everything brand new, man. I feel good out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, this is where I like to be at, you know? You come in Atlanta, you like, damn, it's dirty, it's dingy. They need to steam clean the freeway. They need to steam clean the sidewalk, you know? So people notice the difference because they letting it fall apart on purpose. And they want people to move out farther. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you moving in Atlanta by the airport. They want you moving to Dunwoody or something. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna come back and remodel Atlanta later. But now they over there developing right by the airport because, like you saw, Microsoft just dropped $125 million on a lot of land by the airport. But yeah, so real estate ain't never gonna be the same. I tell people all the time, if you don't own something right now, you ain't never gonna own nothing. So you think your landlord cool right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my landlord cool, he ain't bothering me. But as soon as he die in 4 years or something like that, and his kids get the building, them developers like, hey, we've been trying to buy from your dad, your dad for the longest, but he never want to sell it. Won't y'all take this $5 million for this property? Next thing you know, they like, hey, y'all got to go. Sorry. You know,
Well, I mean, let me say something else. It's interesting. You have now lines on that thing, and I actually like that because people need to know that.
right,
Also, you had a thing about your cars or something. Is that right?
right, right.
Well, go ahead and explain that to me because I did want to know about the car thing. I listened to you on the show, but I just want to hear you
Okay.
again.
So
The audience more so than that, me. But
so I grew up in Compton, California, and that's the home of the lowrider. Black folks started lowriding years ago, back in the 50s or something like that. So by the time I came around, you know, a lot of cats was build cars out the backyard and all of that stuff. But I said that's how I got started. I was building cars in my mama's backyard, flipping Regals and Cutlasses and Monte Carlos. And next thing you know, I got me my first Chevy Impala. And then all of a sudden, I had a coach by the name of Gary May, another brother by the name of Cap, and these guys was a serious car builders. They knew all about cars and hydraulics and all this kind of stuff. So I learned real estate and low riding and restoration, how to flip, how to build cars and sell cars. That's a culture. Flipping cars is a big culture for us as a people in LA, Compton, Watts, and even in Florida. You feel me? So a lot of people don't know that. But anyway, so in Compton, of course, you know, we got a lot of rappers. So now all of a sudden, when the rappers started really getting famous, of course they want lowriders in all their videos, right? So now I got people calling me, name brand rappers calling me, asking me, can we put these cars in the video? Can we come do this video? Can I use your car for a video? You know, so we start supplying cars to videos and movies and TV shows and commercials and all kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, when rappers blew up, they start traveling the world internationally, selling their albums. They were selling lowriders internationally. They would call me up and say, TJ, I'm in Dubai, man. I got a prince over here. He cool. He got a lot of money. He want to buy a lowrider. Can we ship him one to Dubai? Can we ship a car to Japan? Can we ship some cars to Germany? Can we ship? That dude said he want to buy that car in training day. This dude right here with me, he the grandson to Toyota, and he wants to buy that car on the front of Ice Cube's record. Stuff like that was going on. So we building lowriders, shipping them all around the world. So I was the brother who became known for, I kind of put the infrastructure together. You know what I'm saying? You know how the brothers, we ain't stupid. Brothers knew, a lot of my hood brothers knew. They said, well, TJ kind of smart. Let's let him take the lead on this. He knows, you know what I'm saying? He got some bigger thoughts. So I came back and I kind of like, they supported me and told me do what I need to do to clean up this industry because the rap videos, they was trying to make it to where it looked bad, you know. Like I got into it with they was trying to shoot that movie with Queen Latifah. Just kind of like came back on me later. You seen that movie Set It Off when they robbed the bank? Queen
yeah, I
Latifah,
remember.
Jada Pink and all them. Well, I was when they came in, I asked for this. I wanted to see the script, what they needed lowrider for. You know what I'm saying?
What year
Everybody,
you talking about? Somebody in the chat want to know what year you talking about.
huh?
Somebody in the chat wants to know what year is TJ talking about.
Man, I don't even remember, bro. I ain't good with years, but that was back in the early 90s. All this was in the
Right.
early 90s. You know what I'm saying? Just Google the movie Set It Off. You know what I'm saying? So back then, they would do stuff with the lowriders and make us look bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, everybody with lowriders is gang members, drive-by shooters, and bank robbers. You know what I'm saying? From watching the videos. So it was like I would be the guy who would fight and argue and say, no, 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 we ain't gonna rent it to them. And you know, I would have to go out and go to the city hall meeting because the city trying to pass a law to where we can't drive the lowriders down Crenshaw no more. So I kind of like had a lot of nice conversation. So they supported me and would tell me anytime lowrider had a problem, they would call me and tell me I need to go to this meeting. I need to go do that. So I helped to start this thing called the, I ain't gonna throw the name out there because it's controversial, but we, like I said, it became an organization for lowriders. So when you want to do a movie, you call these people right here, and they'll send you a car. You know what I'm saying? And it was all about, so what I did was all my partners that was coming home from the feds and from prison and jail and all of that, car thief partners that knew a lot about cars, they would all come to me and they'd be like, "Hey man, can I get a tow truck or something? Can I get a job?" And I'd be like, I ain't got no money, but I can give you a job, you know what I'm saying? Or I give them a tow truck and say, "Go hang out over here on the corner. They got a lot of accidents that happen, so you just scoop the cars up and take them to the shop." So we getting kickbacks from the insurance from the body shops. We was getting kickbacks from a whole lot of people, to tow these cars. So a lot of my partners who've been towing them cars, they all of a sudden they got 14 tow trucks now, and they multi-millionaires. You feel me? So when I started running ads in the lowrider magazines and stuff like that, my ads was in. I think they said I had 1.4 million people around the world was seeing my ads. So I literally had people who would see that ad and would call me and say, "Hey man, I see y'all like them old raggedy Chevy Impalas. I got like 40 of them in my barn in the backyard out here in Virginia, for example. I got like 50 of them out here in Macon, Georgia. I got 30 of them in Wisconsin." So I started buying transporters and would send my people out to Maryland or DC or New York or wherever it was that somebody had a bunch of those cars, and we would bring them back home to Compton, fix them up, and sell them to a rapper or a football player or something. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
We fortunately the community that we had lived in for years as well. You know what? So you want to talk about that gentrification? Go back to that.
Well, we go back to it. And go ahead and keep on the car thing. We get back to it before we finish.
Oh,
That
okay,
is
okay.
one point I forgot in there too to bring up that happened in the '90s. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep on going to the car thing first. This is a good business thing to talk about. Go ahead.
Okay. So right now, you know, we got older. A lot of us started getting older. I've been doing this since I was like 10 years, 9 years old, messing with cars and all that stuff, learning about it. I started my shop legally with a business license at 21, 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, man, I think I'm 50 now. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got tired, man. I can't keep doing this. It was too stressful dealing with stuff. So I came out, man. It was like my partners was like, it became the people who used to work for us, everybody counting the money now. They like, all these cats is millionaires, all these cats is making too much money, and we doing all the work. So now all the employees got smart and start opening their own businesses. You feel me? So now it's a lot of people who don't have the knowledge that we had, who don't know how to do it. Now the schools that took the trades out of the schools, so therefore now it's not enough people to do the work, if that makes sense. So now, because it's not enough people to do the work, the people that do the work is making too much money, where he should be working on 15 cars at a time because that's all he can handle. But now he got 40 cars in the shop that he been paid for up front to build. You feel me? Because his people are desperate to get their cars done, and they know, oh, that's the brother that built that car in that movie, or he the one built all the rapper cars, blah blah blah. So they sending him all these cars, and he can't finish all them cars. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we came up, and I was like, look, man, it's time to start going to these schools and figure out what we got to do to put them back into the schools. So, I go to the schools. I became
What's the
an
name of your
advisor
book?
huh?
What's the name of your book?
Oh, my book is called Monetizing Gentrification, Building Black Ownership. They can go to my website at tjlofton.com. Don't buy it off of Amazon. Buy it off of my website, because that is not my book on Amazon. When you do something good, they're going to steal your product and sell it. But anyway, TJ Lofton, LOFTIN.com. But you can call me up at air code 310-619-3954 and order you a copy, a signed copy. 310-619-3954. Or you can cash at me at that name, $35. I'll ship it to your door as long as you're in America. Thomas Lofton, money sign Thomas TJ Lofton. But so yeah, I've been going to the school districts. I started off going to the schools trying to get them to put the trades back in, because that's what I had. I had a sewing class, and with that sewing class, I learned how to sew interior seats in cars. With that welding, I ended up with a wood shop class. With that wood shop class, I learned how to build speaker boxes for the trunk of those cars. You know what I'm saying? So all of those metal shop class, all those classes I had paid off. So I looked up, they came in and took all of them out to schools. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that they can't produce no more TJs, if that makes sense. You feel me? Because
Yeah.
what nobody who's working on cars is going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Unless they say, like they saying, oh, they set people up saying, oh, he stole the car. But people who working on cars ain't going to jail, and that's what they did not like. So they said they're gonna pull the trades out of the schools so that they can help increase that school to prison pipeline. You know what I'm saying? They knew nobody's gonna go to college. Nobody gonna go to college and nobody's gonna go to jail if long as they got these trades in these schools. See what I'm saying? So anyway,
Gotcha.
that's where, yeah, so that's where, so now fast forward, I go back to the Compton School District thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna find out about me. I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna show them all these magazines. I got enough magazines to come up to your head where they didn't wrote books, that they didn't wrote articles about me, and they didn't, stuff I didn't advertised in, and all just years of advertisements and articles and stuff about me and the cars and Japanese lowrider magazine and foreign country magazines, all kind of stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back and show them at the school, and they're gonna let me come talk to the kids so I could tell them that y'all want to be mechanics too.
Got a question
So
for you.
that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in Atlanta looking at buildings. But what I did was
Oh,
we did get Dr. Dre to come back. Dr. Dre, Master P, and Chico Brown, they all been going back. And Dr. Dre gave $10 million. I can't talk about what other people did, but we got Dre to give $10 million to the Compton School District, and they turned around and put automotive classes. I got to go in there and pick everything that I wanted for the automotive class. You know what I'm saying? I said, I want all this new stuff. They did everything but tear the building down. They got new concrete. They got new walls, new plumbing for the everything, new lighting. I even got to go buy an electric car. You know what I'm saying? Got them an electric car so they in the box so that they can learn how to build electric cars. But they've been trying to get rid of that program since I got popular and start traveling the country. They didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, I'm talking to the teacher. He talking about, man, they trying to get rid of him. They trying to close the program down. But fast forward the story, like the person asked, I ended up coming out here, the homeschoolers, the what do you call it? Liberated Minds Homeschoolers Conference in Atlanta. That's the biggest Black-owned homeschooler in the world. They reached out to me and they brought me out here to Georgia to speak. So I'll be actually speaking for them again this weekend, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll be doing that the conference. Now it's virtual, but fast forward the story. I moved to Georgia because that's where we at. I go to the schools in Georgia. I go to schools in DC. I go to schools in Maryland. 100% Black kids. You feel me? Go to school in LA, in Compton, 3% Black kids. You feel me? So anyway, fast forward the story. As soon as I get back to Atlanta, to turn around and start going to these schools and writing more books and curriculum for them so they can make money and teaching them how to do all this stuff, helping them to set up an infrastructure. COVID happens and they shut the whole state down. They shut the whole country down. But now currently I'm looking for a building and I got my eyes on some buildings that I want to buy and I'm gonna just do it myself. You know what I mean? Teach them how to paint cars, teach them how to do real estate, teach them how to, negotiate and understand how to watch the real estate market so that they can protect their businesses and not be ran out of business because they don't own it or because they don't understand the effects of when a multi-billion-dollar company move across the street from your shop or something like that or your house. So I'm gonna build some straight up business killers. You know what I'm saying?
So, guys,
Some TJs. We're gonna have a whole fleet of TJs out there from a younger
guys,
age.
where can we go get these trades at nowadays?
Man, it's funny how in Atlanta they bragging about Morehouse and Morris Brown and Clark Atlanta and all that stuff, but the baddest school out here is called Trade Tech. It's a trade school out here, Georgia State. It's a Georgia Technical College or something like that, and they got a big old banner on the side of the wall that said 99% of our people get jobs. You know what I'm saying? 99% of kids who graduate from that Georgia Atlantic Technical College go to work. Less than 3% from Morris Brown and Morehouse and all them people go to work. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, actually in the field that they graduated from. Our HBCUs, they are not less than 90%, less than, what is it? I'm sorry, over 90% of those young people are not graduating and going to get a job in the career that they took up in school. They make up they got over 90% of our college graduates are unemployed or underemployed. And I've been saying that since 2015 or something like that. But now you see in the news, the president is even talking. They're trying to get Biden to pay off all the student loan debt. You see what I'm saying? Because they can't do it because they in too much debt. So, but you go to the trade schools, they ain't in debt and they got jobs and they making money. They making more money right now. They learn carpentry. They making carpentry. They should be, Georgia has, the airport has, there's a mayor called Mayor Maynard Jackson. Mayor Maynard Jackson had, he owns it. He helped put that airport together. So they named it Hartfield Jackson after Mayor Maynard Jackson. When Maynard Jackson knew that they was going to build an airport in Atlanta, he turned around and put a 70% minority participation on that school. I'm sorry, on that airport, saying 70% of the construction people who build this airport got to be African American owned. Do you hear what I'm saying, brother? 70% of the construction companies, whether you coming in laying the concrete, whether you coming in doing the plumbing, whether you just coming there to do some banners on the walls, it got to be African American company, which is African American sister just recently put the awnings over the top of it just now. I mean, in the last year or so, as I fly in, I see these bad awnings because the whole airport been all blocked off and they doing all that construction work. That was a sister doing that. So what is my point? When I come to put it like this, because of that minority participation, we supposed to go and find out Morehouse and Howard, Morehouse and all these black colleges out here in Atlanta, they should all be billionaires because they should have tapped right into that airport. And all their students should be, when they found out that Mayor Maynard Brown put that 70% minority participation on that airport, so building it all the way to maintaining it or upgrading it, to this day is still the same, but we ain't using it. It ain't enough of us using it. So we're supposed to go, knowing that that's in place, we're supposed to be able to go to Morehouse in Clark, Atlanta, Morris Brown and them, and they supposed to be able to show us how 60% of the students who graduate from here are contractors and they all making money building up Atlanta. But that ain't the case. They don't have nothing in those schools to where those kids are able to tap into that, if that makes sense. So that's why I said I'm gonna do it myself.
Well, okay. Let me go back to this question. When he said my wife and I were victims of gentrification in Philly in 2018, we were forced to leave the community. Let me say something about this before you tap into this. Okay. In the 90s, it was George Bush and then Clinton came into it. They had this thing called Hope VI, H-O Hope VI. And there was like contracts with public-private partnerships where private companies would start buying up hood urban development and they would tear down housing projects around the country. It's in full force now, but they actually started doing it in the 90s. They did it in Atlanta with the Techwood Homes, Chicago, Cabrini Green, and they just did it. And then they had the crime bill, which basically purged black people out of American cities. So you had to tear down all throughout there. See, a lot of people know the crime bill actually also contributed to a lot of mass gentrification too, because you men at the homes. Right. And then you started bringing more black women into the workforce, and then you train them in these Marxist institutions. So these BLM idiots, and they, all this feminism, these feminists, right. And you change the whole culture. So really, to tell you the truth, they used to they basically took the black woman from being what they used to call quote unquote, that bullshit welfare queen nonsense, but they changed her from being not all, but a lot of them, into basically not a government whore as far as being hooked on the system, but a government whore is being in corporate America
Right.
now with a high paying job to
Right.
keep the black man in a state of consistent bondage
Right.
in the mind.
Right.
That bondage, whether the son is a homosexual or whether he's feminine or where he can't get a job, whether he goes to jail, and it's just a repeating cycle. Still, I mean, putting the black woman in corporate America is still part of the school to prison pipeline. You really never thought about it, just on
Absolutely.
a
I
deep
agree.
level. And they don't even, a lot of them don't even see what's going on. But the whole BI, when they started turning down housing projects, and not only this now, this was the kicker. They said you could come back, but they only brought some back, and then they put restrictions on you, like if you had somebody that came out of jail and was a felon, you would lose your housing, or if you had been associated with somebody who had done a heinous act, you would lose your housing. So this thing actually started from that whole BI nonsense. And Bishop, that actually is what's going on today, but they've actually expanded it, where now it's a little bit different because she's not looking for all the time government housing anymore, but she doesn't realize that she's getting stuck into thousands and thousands of college debt.
Yeah.
When actually that those men that she had that were locked up could have been the construction owners and millionaires of tomorrow.
That part.
We didn't realize that. Now we're paying for it daily.
Right. And people, after researching the history of black people, right? I'm looking at my community of car builders, and everybody's successful. Don't nobody owe nobody money. Everybody good. You feel me? Everybody touched 7 figures. Everybody's great. So I found out I was in the 1% bubble. And then I looked out, Dr. Sabi told me, he said, man, you need to help everybody, bro. Teach them what you know. Because I said, well, college is doing that. They teach all them college people broke. I was like, what? He said they broke. They need to learn too. So I started researching college. I started researching why is black people having problems. They said by 2053, black people net wealth will be down to 0 or something like that. So I started researching why are black people broke? Why are we having problems? And you know what I'm saying? And I come to find out colleges was one of the major reasons of that. You know what I'm saying? What do I mean by that? You talking about they got black colleges, HBCUs, but when you go in there and look at the books that they reading out of, they written by white people.
That's
and
right.
Brainwashing them. And what is their biggest goal in life? Once they in those colleges, they want to join the Greek fraternities. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be offensive to anybody. If y'all just want to fix the problem, then y'all don't.
Well, no. Not being offensive. We talking truth here. First of all,
right. I'm just saying somebody get mad.
No. If they get offended, they get offended. They can leave the show. Okay.
Right.
All right. That's good. So Greek fraternities. Let's get to that right quick. Let's get to the Greek fraternity thing, because a lot of people need to pay attention. Most of your HBCUs, right? You will find out if you go deep into the real, get into the ether. You go out to the ether and don't get into your emotional bullcrap of your fraternity, your sorority. I don't care if you're AKA, Alpha, whatever you are, right?
Right.
But you better know that a lot of that stuff is owned by the Rockefellers and stuff like that. They got a lot of nefarious purposes.
Right.
That's why when you see a pastor or a celebrity, and I'm gonna just call them celebrity circus, come to town, because that's what they are. They run on a circus. When you see them pushing this jab, right? You gotta know that, first of all, let's be honest. 95%, and probably might be 99%, more so. But I'm gonna go 95, right? We gotta go a little higher if we can. But 95% of your celebrities are nothing but corporate puppets. That's all they are.
That's it. Right.
Corporate puppets, corporate entities. They really serve us no purpose but to give us a show. Matter of fact, come to think about it, all this social justice, BLM, reach and overcome, all that nonsense. You are not an activist. You are activist. You are actor.
let me drop something on you. Let me drop something on you. If you look up Black Lives Matter, they said that they started off in Leimert Park, right?
Yep.
Leimert Park, California. If you go to their little website and look them up, they said in 2000 something they started off in Leimert Park. But if you go to my Facebook page and you look up 2000 something, you'll see I was in Leimert Park in 2012 and 2013, and they was not there. I knew everybody in Leimert Park, but I'll tell you what they did do. They came in that park one day. They was having a press conference. This when I first found out about them. I'm the president of Leimert Park, right? I'm the reason why they still there to this day, because the government, they tried to gentrify them and kick them out of the park. So when you look that up, I was the one who stopped that from happening, them getting kicked out that park, and that's how I became famous. That's why they put me on Al Jazeera's news. So one day I was driving by there on a Saturday, because we was up there every Sunday. So I'm driving by there on a Saturday, and I see they having this big press conference. So I something say, Buster, you turn, go back, see what that's all about. Because normally I get a phone call whenever the media come up there. They want me to talk. You know what I'm saying? I go back up there, man, and one of my homegirls, she was wilding out. She wasn't trying to let them do a press conference. And I'm like, so somebody want to fight her. So when I came up, I was like, hold on, man, you ain't finna be fighting no female, man. What's wrong with you? To this brother, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I know who he was, so I had to check him. So I go over there. I'm like, in front of all these white folks, you really finna do something stupid like that? Don't you know that's what they want you to do? You finna jump in her face and fight a female brother? Man, you about to get knocked out over here acting stupid like that. What's wrong with you? So he bagged down, walked away, and I walked over to the sister and asked her, what's going on? What's the problem? And she's like, these homosexual, whatever, transvestite mother effers over there, they trying to lie and say they started off here. That Black Lives Matter. I was like, who? She said Black Lives Matter. I'm like, who is that? Never heard of that. That's some BS organization with a bunch of homosexuals or something. And then I turned and I looked. She pointed them out, and I looked over at them, and I go to a lot of gangbang meetings in LA when I was in LA, right? Stop the violence, the gangbangers, all that come together. So I was sitting on those meetings because I know a lot of people, and I saw some of my homeboys in there. So fast forward the story, one of my homeboys was protecting the Black Lives Matter people, right? So when she pointed at them, said that dude right there, them three girls, they all homosexuals, and that Mexican that's a man dressed like a woman. And they finna do a press conference talking about this is where they started off at. And they come in there with they all conscious, got their dashikis on.
Let me say something right here, brother. After you finish, I gotta say something about Black Lives Matter. I gotta say something about it.
So they tried to launch there. So they hit me. She hit me in the face talking about you agree with this homosexuality and all that, and you know that you gonna let them do that right here. You know ain't nobody homosexual up here. And then I looked up at them. I said, "Nah, y'all take that somewhere else." So when they tried to do a press conference and launch in Leimert Park, I was the one who shut that down. So you notice that you don't see no video of them launching in Leimert Park. You'll hear, I don't know unless they went.
And they said the hero was Bj Rustin. That's what they said.
Who?
They said the hero was Bj Rustin.
That part right there. So it tripped me out when somebody said, yeah, they started off in Leimert Park, because I was the one who put Leimert Park on the map. A lot of people had not heard about that, but they was using that BLM to overpower what I had did with that, why they put me on Al Jazeera's. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing was supposed to wash away what I did, you know? So it was interesting that all that happened, and they never thought that I would become a public speaker and write a book and all that type of stuff. But that's when I first called out gentrification in Leimert Park. But go ahead,
BLM, and BLM has a huge hand in gentrification too, whether people know it or not.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Matter of fact, come and think about it. Let me take this off right here. Let me take off something. Because if you come to Richmond, Virginia, you see Black Lives Matter signs in white neighborhoods. You hardly see any in black neighborhoods. That should be the first thing to tell you. But if you really study Black Lives Matter, you go back to the Weathermen, and then you go to Bill Ayers, Robert Ayers, Bill Ayers, who was a mentor of Obama, George Soros, the Jewish people that surrounded Barack Obama in office, and all these
Right.
hyper-tech
Right.
billionaires like Bill Gates and all these Buffett and all these guys, right?
Right.
Amazon and Target and Google, all these people that
Yep.
donate to them, right?
Right.
Well, who was the president who signed LGBTQ legislation? Well, don't you think that the people that's backing him are the same people funding Black Lives Matter?
That part.
It ain't that hard to figure this out.
Check this out though.
Huh?
Check this out. When I did what I did in Leimert Park and I organized everybody, do you know who the first person was that was really trying to stop me? So, for example, when I stopped them from taking Leimert Park and I became known and everybody, I'm the president, I managed to organize these people. I talk about that in my book, matter of fact, just lightly. Is a picture of me sitting there as the president. When I became the president of the vendors, I created the organization, the Leimert Park Vendors Association or whatever. Do you know who was attacking me? All of a sudden, just magically showed up out of nowhere, decided they're going to be vendors in Leimert Park, and they started attacking me. Do you know who that was?
Who?
The homosexual community.
Of course.
Before I saved Leimert Park, when I was just sitting in there was no homosexuals walking around. When I turned around and stood up and we stopped them from gentrifying us, the main people coming after me was the homosexual community. But back then, there wasn't no Black Lives Matter. There wasn't that. But a year later, now they got a name, and it's called Black Lives Matter. And everybody looking mad at me like, why you stopping Black Lives Matter? They trying to help us. I'm like, them is the same people that was trying to get me out of here. How they trying to help us?
Well, let me say something to you. As a matter of fact, they were funded by over 600 Jewish organizations, okay? But I'm going to say this in a context. Okay, number one. Remember I said about the Rockefellers and the HBCUs, right?
Right.
You got these nefarious people funding you. I don't care how good you think you are. You're in some tough stuff because they basically own your ass. Okay, number two. You're talking about Leimert Park, right? That's in California, right?
Yep.
Okay. A lot of things went on in Leimert Park over the years, but when we talk about BLM, who screams in the name of social justice, they done transformed 3 times. They had elements of BLM in what they group called Acorn, right? Elements of it.
Right.
Elements of it.
Right.
Then they transformed to some of them occupy Wall Street, and it didn't catch. Well, they said, let's use Black Lives Matter, hope this catch. They really tried to kick it off in Florida with Trayvon Martin, but they couldn't do it. Okay?
Right.
Then the Ferguson thing set it off. But here's the thing, in Ferguson, you had guys like King Darren Seals, shout out to him,
Seals,
who realized that this was a fraud.
He exposed
called him out and he ended up losing life over it.
Check this out. Let me tell you my story. If you look me up, when they saw that the homosexual community was coming at, that's called these new people called Black Lives Matter was coming after me, they booked me to speak with this brother called the Irritated Genie. You know what I'm talking about? So they put me and Irritated Genie on the same stage in Pasadena, California. We was on the same flyer for that event. And that's when we first met. And then we sit down and compare notes. And I told him, I said, yeah, man, them people be attacking me. And he like, oh, let me tell you who they are. What's going on? And I didn't know nothing about this whole homosexual agenda. I just thought this was some stuff going on in Leimert Park. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, he put me up on what was going on and all the players that was involved. And he traveling around the world because he an international speaker. But anyway.
Homosexual agenda to go, and they want that homosexual agenda by Black Lives Matter to go on every continent
around the world. Hey, so check this out. I'm trying to get to my thought. You go back on my YouTube page and look up, or you can go to Irritated Genie's page and look up. Irritated Genie was finna interview me on his radio show, right? And then he called me before the day before, and say, man, this stuff going on with Ferguson, the brother Darren Seals contacted me. And I want to interview him because he gonna expose Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, what? So can I interview you next week? So if you go look at that, you'll see Irritated Genie interviewed Darren Seals this week and the next week you'll see that I was being interviewed. That's
Gotcha.
all you got to look up. So Darren Sills came on there and he broke it down about how they was on the front lines fighting against the police brutality and the murders, right? He didn't united the Bloods and the Crips. And then all of a sudden they came to my, oh man, we got some help and we're gonna put y'all on the internet. You heard the story, right?
Yeah.
This out his own mouth. He's like, man, all of a sudden when the news came and wanted to interview them, they wanted to interview the Black Lives Matter, the people who was with them with the laptops. And all of a sudden, they talking about Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. So when the microphones came and the news came, them fools got up on the podium and started saying homosexual lives matter and transvestite, da-da-da. And they like, what the hell? This wasn't the message. He changing the message. So this is what he was telling Irritated Genie. And then was it 2 weeks later he was dead.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was real big.
And we know some, and I know some people that were with Darren Seals. I'm not gonna shout the names on here, but they've been exposing BLM over the years, and they've done a good job. And actually, BLM, to be honest with you, for the most part, they're finished. I mean, they're holding on to thin ice right now. They're gonna try to reinvent themselves. You know, they're gonna reinvent themselves as another group, another nonprofit. But for right now, they don't, and as a matter of fact, come to think about it, they only come around time to election anyway. You don't even see them all the time. They come out around time to election.
But honestly, the damage is done.
Yeah.
The damage is done. I got homeboys right now that look at me mad, like, man, how you gonna try to stop talking bad about Black Lives Matter? They be out here trying to put in work and help us with these police. I'm like, go read the website, brother. They don't like you. They don't like me. You know what I'm saying? They ain't for the black family.
We want to destroy. Matter of fact, not only they're not the black family, they are mostly anti-family, and they are promoting pedophilia at the same time. That's another little interesting difference.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that people know that. But you got people like a guy. One time he was at an event, and the guy actually went back. I said, let me tell you something. I wouldn't buy a Black Lives Matter shirt if you paid me, because that means I'm representing their agenda. I'm not a homosexual.
That part right there.
I'm not a homosexual, and I don't support open communism. As a matter of fact, you go by their tactics, they're also communists and Marxists, and they actually say it on their site.
If you go look up,
matter of fact, maybe take it back. They took it down. My fault. When they got caught, they took it down. My fault.
You know, it's unfortunate. Our people really don't research or anything. They just see them on the front lines. But you know what I noticed what was going on was when I stood up and fought gentrification in Leimert Park and called it out, it made so much noise because when they researched my background, you know, they said he don't know what he's talking about, because most people said, what is that, TJ? What is gentrification? What you talking about? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? In LA, that's what was happening. But because of my background, they looked me up and researched me. They were looking to discredit me and talk bad about me. But when they did that, when they start digging through my background, they like, wait a minute. This dude had a real estate license. He had a mortgage broker's license. He owned a company. He over here owned a lot of real estate. He was building houses out there. They knew they couldn't say that, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. That's why they was like, we got to shut this down and change the narrative. So all of a sudden, that's when here they come, the Black Lives Matter. But before them, it was the homosexual community, because they was the one over there. I said, oh, that's two sisters. They don't like men, and they keep messing with me. You know what I'm saying? So before that, when I pushed the line and stopped that gentrification, I called it out, and we started coming up with solutions, and we united. All of a sudden, it was the Black Lives Matter homosexual lady who introduced me to the person who came to attack me again, somebody else. You know what I'm saying? They were the main force. So they used them, they weaponized them against us to come after other topics. You know what I'm saying? So
and the worst thing about it, they come out of colleges. You have to think tank. They also high into the tech, Silicon Valley, and all that other crap.
Hey, so that's what I don't like about college. People are like, why you always talk about college? When I sit back and deep research, who's behind all the bull crap in Black America? What was the judge that dropped the charges against all them cops? What was the prosecutor, the black prosecutor? What school did the black prosecutor come from that decided that cop didn't do nothing wrong by shooting that boy in the back 14 times? What school did he go to? When I start researching all of the horrific crimes against black people that was done by black people, letting the white folks off, they all came from HBCUs. You understand what I'm saying? Or they was all, I'm sorry, they was all from that AKA type of stuff, or that Deltas and all them type
well,
of
look here, man. Well, look, let's be honest. Let's be honest. All jokes aside, I mean, you know, like I said, I got some wonderful friends, family that went to HBCU, but really, I mean, a lot of people, you know, with the high ups, they ain't nothing but high up bootlegs themselves. It is what it is. That's what they are. A lot of them, like the guy said, they yard was CIA. Some of them CIA agents and federal informants. I mean, that's what they had Black Lives Matter, federal informant nonsense. Right.
They recruiting. They go to those schools. Those are the employee training grounds, and they go to those schools and they could recruit them to go turn on our community.
That's right.
You feel me? That's what they for. That's what that's all about. Right. Because I tell you this, you look me up, you don't see me speaking at a whole lot of colleges, right? I'll tell you why. When I would go to the college, I was in LA. I remember I was in LA at USC. And I'm happy, man. I'm like, wow, they got me on the jumbotrons and I'm in here giving the game up and just dropping it. As soon as I finished, highly white man came in there and approached me. I said, man, I love to sponsor what you're doing, man. I love to talk to you, sit down and talk to you about it. You know what I'm saying? You got some great information. I would love to sit down and talk to you about it. Can I give you my number and we connect on tomorrow, Tuesday? You come by the house. I live in the rich neighborhood out here. I'm like, yeah, give me your number. He like, oh, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, yep. No, like, as soon as he walk away, all of a sudden, here come another teacher. Hey, that guy's the man. Can you, whatever y'all do, can I be a part of it? I would love that guy. I'm looking at her like, I already know what the fuck is going on. You think I'm stupid? You trying to buy me out. You know what I'm saying?
It's mighty funny. It's mighty funny that you're saying this because I had I think I was DJing an event a couple of years ago. I think it was a local YMCA, and this white boy walked up to me, and he walked up to me and said, he came up and said something. He said, dang, you DJ good. Can I promote you? I told him I'm not looking for a white sponsor, right? He laughed, right? He said, yeah, take my number. I told him, all right, man. So he showed me his Instagram and all that, right? I ain't hit him up one day. I told him I don't DJ for you or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that is interesting because you will have people from other communities come up to you try to buy you out. So that is interesting.
One came to me yesterday. Juneteenth Festival, Juneteenth Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia. I was out here speaking at the Juneteenth Festival. I get on the big major stage and I'm just giving it up, right? I see some white people sitting in front of me, way out far at the back of the stage, the back of the audience kind of. All of a sudden, when all the crowd around my booth kind of start dying out a little bit, all of a sudden this lady shows up. And I'm talking to her. She's like, hey, how's it going? I love your speech. I love what you were talking about. You're absolutely right. And there's a lot of money to be made. And what do you do? And how can I support? And I need some help with I said, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? What do you do? Oh, I'm trying to be an investor. I said, really? I said, why would you do that? She said, well, my dad's a contractor. I said, oh, really? I said, where y'all from? Because I know the right questions to ask. You feel me? Man, they some investors out of California, dude. They out here. The gentrifiers approach me again. So this is normal. You know what I'm saying? This is how they keep control over the community because so many people hurting. So many people need something at work, need to make some money, right? But the reason why they looking at me, I ain't going for it is because just like why Dr. Sabi recruited me, because he realized this brother ain't taking the money like everybody else is. But why am I not taking the money? How am I surviving? I'm a manufacturer. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I know how to work with my hands. I know how to make money. You feel me? So it ain't no reason for me to sell out my community when I already know how to make money. Most people who sell out the community, they struggling. They need some money. So let's go back to our college students again. Think about it. You $258,000 in debt, student loans. You can't find no job, and you having major problems. So they say, hey, we can help you out. You know what I'm saying? If you work for us, selling out your community, we'll make you principal at the local college over there. We'll make you principal at the local high school, or we'll let you run for mayor, or we'll let you run for office over here.
You know that story called rags to riches? You know that thing they call rags to riches and all that?
Right.
Well, like the athletes, he came from a poor family and blah blah. You know the deal, you know the story. Like, he came from rags to riches. But these rags to riches Negroes be your worst sellout. They that's what they tell you, rags to riches. Well, the question is, how you got rich? You got rich by selling out, man. It's okay, but we know who you are.
And it's like, why you gotta be rich? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't realize you ain't gotta live like the rappers do. You can live a nice life. Just like back in the days, I thought everybody in Atlanta was rich because they had these big old giant houses, right? And then I finally get out here and I'm talking to one of my homeboys, and he said, man, he lost his house in foreclosure, 6,000 square foot house. I said, what they sell it for? He said, 90,000. I said, what? Big ass house. Looked like a mansion. This is a mansion in LA. 6,000 square foot. They sold it for 90,000. Yep. That's how cheap Georgia was. So meaning you can have nice houses. You can have multiple houses. Have a house in Georgia, 150,000. Have a house in California. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to work with money, like I do. Like that's why I teach people how to work with money, how to make investments. You know what I'm saying? To where you ain't gotta sell your community out. You like I tell people all the time, you can't afford to buy a house in this economy, but you can afford to build one. You feel me? Meaning, a house may be 700,000 in this area, and you ain't got no 700,000. You don't even qualify for that. But to build that house probably costs about 300. You see what I'm saying? So I tell people all the time, you can't afford to qualify to buy that house, but you can afford to build that house. That's why I talk to people about land development. Let's start buying land and developing it. Been talking about that since 2013. I gave my first presentation, brother, and said, hey, I'm having a land development class in like 2013 in Palmdale. I'm sorry, actually it was my second one. The first one was a tester class with my friends. It was just my friends in the room. You know what I'm saying? The real one where I promoted it to the world. Hey, I'm having a class. TJ, the real estate guru, the blah, blah, blah. I'll be right there in Leimert Park. I was the one who put Leimert Park on the map. I gave the first ever land development class in Leimert Park. Guess who showed up? Guess who filled up the room, brother? Chinese, white people, Hispanics, and the only black people was in the room was one of my homeboys who was just there to support me. That's the only reason why he was there. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even have a class, dude. I sat down and I talked for an hour and a half about nothing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no promotion. I didn't sell my package, nothing. I'm not finna teach y'all this because y'all gonna use it, weaponize it, and use it against my people. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I didn't do it. And that's why now I realize why ain't nobody come for the land development class? Oh, because they on the news, everybody watching flipper classes. Everybody want to learn how to flip because that's what they watching on the Tell a Live Vision. You feel me? The Tell a Live Vision saying you make more money doing flipping than you ever would doing land development. You feel me?
Let me say something, Mr. Lofton. I gotta say this. I'm about to bring you on more, man. You're an interesting guy. You're an interesting guy. I got glad Valerie hooked me up with you. And I'm sure these people in the chat would love to, get in contact with you on stuff. You got a lot of interesting ideas and stuff. I got to link back up with you, man. Maybe I got to even probably hook up with you in person, man. Come down to Virginia or something. You've been in 22 states. Ain't nothing to come back to Virginia.
Virginia, one of them 22. But yeah.
Okay.
Let's do something, brother. Let's book me and bring me out there. Let's do a conference or something, brother. Let's do some panel discussions and talk about this and teach everybody what's going on. You know what I mean?
I'm going to try to find some people in my caveat, they'll be able to book you. You know, even if I can't be there, I'm gonna try to get somebody to get you there. Matter of fact, I might send an interview to him tonight. Maybe he can try
Let
to
me
get
know.
you there. But give out your information.
Okay, if y'all want to get in contact with me, if y'all want to follow me, you go to my Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, YouTube, no Twitter, TikTok, Thomas TJ Lofton, LinkedIn, Thomas TJ Lofton, website, Thomas TJ Lofton, Loftin. Again, Loftin, Thomas TJ Lofton. If y'all want to reach out to me and pick up a copy of the book, call me up at 310-6, or if you want to book me to speak, or if you want to take one of my training classes, give me a call at area code 310-619-3954. Again, 310-619-3954. So a lot of people like, why can't we just go to your website and do all this old stuff? It's because when you're giving up real information, things don't always go the way it's supposed to go, if that makes sense. You feel me? Yeah. It's like I'm selling my book, but Amazon ain't selling Amazon selling it. I ain't got no account with Amazon. Why are they selling it? You see what I'm saying? Things like that happen to discourage people from dealing with people like me who really know what's going on. So anyway,
a guy sent a text. A guy sent a text to me, and he said they shut down Irritated Jenny YouTube down.
So, I was looking for him the other day, and you're right. They shut because he was giving up too much game. He got a lot of people mad at him, man, and that's why. And he got people mad at me for hanging with him. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason why we dealing with what we dealing with on the level of.
Well, you know what I say, brother.
What?
The truth got to be told, and it can't be sold. If they get mad with you, you're doing something right. If they're not getting mad, you must not be doing something right. That's how I look at it.
That part right there. He was too effective. He made international news. When David Seals got murdered, Darren Seals got murdered, Irritated Jeannie went global. But the problem what they don't like about Jeannie was he was an international speaker. So the people who we know as our community leaders over here, they be over there overseas doing some crazy drama that they be denying that they do. Over here, they're against homosexuality. Overseas, they promoting homosexuality. You feel me? So stuff like that.
It's another brother that was connected to Irritated Jeannie named Darren Muhammad that I watch his program, and they took him down too. So they're trying to purge out people. But TJ, I'm gonna say something, man. You were wonderful. You got a lot of knowledge. Come back anytime on this platform, and we're gonna link up again, man. This is very interesting.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Green Valley Jones for letting me have you. Thank you.
All right, brother. You have a good one. Peace.
Gotcha.